Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Friday. Welcome to Daily Dose. How are you, Dr. Mary?
I'm good. How are you?
I will say I'm fine and we'll move on from there. All right, let's get to the questions, wrap up the week, and get on to this beautiful, beautiful weekend. In her book, Still Writing, Dani Shapiro talks about starting the day with equanimity. I'm going to focus on that. Starting her day with equanimity to stay focused and get to work, which is not in her nature, but which she can practice. This is, in essence, about focusing at the start to get things taken care of. Do you need to gently catch your brain scampering off and invite it back to a place from which to work? Do you ever have to do that, Dr. Mary?
Not recently.
Dude, are you telling me that getting sober just fixed everything?
No, but it fixed a lot.
I don't know what my excuse is then.
Well, I have and I'm going to say this again. I took the advice of someone when I was in rehab. I have accomplished something before I'm fully dressed every morning. So the next thing I do is easy. I make the bed. And then it helps me decide what I have to do. I also have started using a calendar so I know exactly what I need to do and when, so I can actually plan ahead. Which is...
It's a good thing that newfangled calendar is working out for you.
I tell you.
You wouldn't want to act too quickly with that.
I used to be a complete tiz while I was drinking, but since I've been sober, I just learned how to just do things. And it's a lot, which actually bleeds into the next question, but it is a lot, it's a lot less stressful if you do that.
That's true. So Dani Shapiro also talks about her friend, the poet Honor More. So if you remember on Wednesday, I had that great setup for this beautiful thing from the book Still Writing, and then I couldn't find the poet's name. The woman's name is Honor More. She was being interviewed. Miss Moore said, "I believe that we don't choose our stories. Our stories choose us. And if we don't tell them, then we are somehow diminished." What stories do you need to tell to come into your own greatness?
Yeah, my journey back to sobriety was something I needed to share. We needed to share.
Yeah. So much of my blog is super personal and about journeys that I need and want to share. And partly I need and want to share them because I think that whether addiction is a piece of your life or an unplanned pregnancy or the other things that I write about, there is a universality to pitfalls and to disappointments and to unexpected twists and turns. We all start, I think, our lives thinking that it's going to be this long, smooth path. And we know that that is just simply not true. So the stories, the bumps and twists and turns can make us little, or they can help us grow into our full size and greatness. And for my part, you've heard me talk a lot about this phrase, "Yep, you're a real big girl." Guess what? I am a real big personality. And by that, I mean I am coming more and more into my own greatness and getting more and more comfortable with it because I am sharing more and more of the stuff that I used to think diminished me. And I'm just done being diminished. Just quite flat out done with it. For those of you who think I've never been diminished, you haven't been paying attention. So, Dr. Mary commented, "If you don't face the fact that there is something wrong with you, you do suffer. You engineer your life to say, if I can do this, there's nothing wrong with me." So give an example of that, because you've got great examples of that.
If
I can go to work and do my job.
Yeah, if I never thought there was anything really wrong with me. I kept being in denial about what was wrong with me. You can condition yourself to manage what's wrong with you, and you can do that for quite some time. You can actually be successful at it for a while, but it will catch up and bite you in the end, and it does.
I like this idea. You say you keep re-engineering everything because you just won't admit that there is
Yeah.
something terribly wrong with you. This re-engineering. So you're making a path. Oh, that didn't work. Shift the path, shift the path, shift the path. You're constantly having to kind of recalibrate because your normal keeps moving on you.
And almost all of our guests that we've had on this show who are addicts have talked about the same thing. How they manage their addiction without admitting they have an addiction.
Yeah. And take out the word addiction. I manage my blank without admitting I have a blank.
And I did say this whole thing is it can be used by anybody in any situation.
Yes, it can.
It's something we are all guilty of, but it really does come to bear if you are, well, for me anyway, struggling with an addiction. Just admitting what's wrong with you is probably one of the most freeing things I've ever done. And it was scary because admitting there's something wrong with you, no matter what it is scary. You know why it's actually hard to be a small town doctor in middle of America is the fact that people shug off what's wrong with them, so they don't actually go and see a doctor until they're bleeding out of some part of their body, and it's sometimes too late to treat them. So if you think there's something wrong with you, go and get checked up.
Oh, stop doing that. You're bouncing the couch.
It's Friday.
Chris Swenson, our guest from yesterday. Thanks so much for joining us, Chris. That was an interesting conversation. I'm sorry about the sound quality.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
I knew when we were recording it that it wasn't quite right, but
I don't know which end it was at.
I think it was on ours because Chris said he couldn't hear it. So I hope that you muddled through that. I don't think it kept it from being comprehensible, but it wasn't great, so I'm sorry for that. But Chris Swenson talked about fixers, those who fix someone, help them through something like addiction, someone who's needed, and then in the aftermath of the person getting fixed, there's kind of a emptiness left. And I said in that conversation that I absolutely saw myself as a fixer and have to remind myself pretty often in a lot of places in my life that you don't need to fix other people. Why don't you focus on yourself? Nobody asked. Step back. It's like those commercials I like about trying to keep you from becoming your parents.
Oh my God, yes.
You know, I kind of need someone saying, don't offer a suggestion there. You're fine. How about we just focus on you, Dana, and then they can focus on them, and you don't need to get your hands dirty because you believe you have so much to offer. I may have things to offer. Not everybody wants what I have to offer. And just because I believe I have it doesn't mean I have it. So the relationship in that case was about a power imbalance. Is there a factor with anyone in your life, and do you need to address it? Are you trying to fix someone or save someone or change someone? You hear all the time. People will look back on their dating years and say, well, sure, I knew he blank. Sure, I knew she did this, but I thought I could change them. I thought they would grow out of it. I thought that we could work through it. That is Looney Tunes. You are more than likely marrying exactly what you see, and it's going to continue. Dr. Mary, have you fixed me of my feistiness?
Oh, God.
No.
Why would you want it? It's part of you.
Well, that's a nice approach. It's not everyone's approach. A lot of people have tried.
Well,
Everyone has failed.
it's like sailing into a storm on a horizon. Sometimes, you can't avoid it, so you weather down as best you can.
Batten the hatches, so to speak.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you come out of it to the other end, the journey's always worth it. Then there's smooth sailing.
For 3 or 4 minutes.
I did not want... I like to point out to everyone listening and who's hopefully going to hit like and subscribe that I didn't say that.
No, he didn't. He didn't need to. All right, so think about what are those relationships that are so imbalanced because you are fixing someone, or who's working to fix you?
Also remember, if something is unfixable, you owe it to yourself to stop fixing it and gracefully back away.
Yes. Yes.
Because it's only going to damage you if you're not careful.
You know, one of the things that I consider from time to time is if this were 5 years ago and I were watching Daily Dose of Dr. Smith and SS, would I think to myself, well, they got through it, I can get through it, I can hold on? Would I think to myself, well, if I quit now, if I walk away now, then I'm a loser? I mean, are we creating a scenario that certainly is true for us and is true for other couples? Grant Severson, Melissa Birkeland went through this. I mean, we've had some, well, I guess we've only had one husband and wife on, but they survived it. We know some other couples who have survived this and gone on to thrive. So it's possible, but it's not very probable. So if you are in an environment where you have been fixing and fixing and fixing, or you feel like someone is fixing and fixing and fixing on you, and nothing is improving, it is okay to look at the environment and say, not for me. I've done what I can do. I've gotten what I can get. I've put up with what I can put up with, and I'm going to choose to walk away. That is a perfectly legitimate option. I'm incredibly grateful that I didn't do that.
Me too.
But that is a real and viable and sometimes the only option. And then you just start from there. We had to start from the day you came home from rehab.
Well,
Other people have to start from, okay, his stuff's out of the closet, her stuff's out of the pantry, whatever. Then you take the first step from there. A relationship with a power imbalance is not a good relationship ever. So figure out if you need to address one of those in your life. Last question. Chris talks about having a Rhino mentality, to be strong, wise, and resilient. It's a mindset to develop those qualities in and for yourself. That becomes a way of life and how you can work through challenges. Chris encourages people to find the words and images that resonate for them. So spend some time this weekend and come up with your own images and words. If you had to come up with 3 words that you try to live by, what would you say? I meant to tell you I was going to ask you this. I'm sorry.
that's okay. I like being stuck on the spot in front of
During
a live camera. It's just
lions.
how I thrive. I would say integrity,
That's my first word too.
which I had to relearn, but now I do have.
It's true. I used to scream about that a lot. With
Yeah,
you.
truth, because that's what's written on the stone I was given by my counsellor when I graduated from AA
No, rehab.
rehab. Truth, integrity. I don't know what the third one would be. I mean, those two are kind of some things I've been striving for since I've been sober.
I'm going to go with integrity, adventure, and joy.
Oh, can I steal joy?
You can.
I'm going to steal joy.
You can share it.
I can share joy. That's good. I'll share joy with you. That's even better. For
Yeah.
those of you who haven't thrown up in your mouth,
Sorry if you're
that
eating
was a
breakfast.
sweet moment.
So think about it, because what if you adopted those words and that was how you moved through the world? Chris says that he started to develop these 3 words after he had a terrible car accident, which I couldn't tell if it was alcohol related or not. It doesn't matter, but it was a turning point for him in his 20s at some point. And so for 20 plus years, he has worked to live by strength, wisdom, and resiliency. And I think if you had those words, at every moment, at every crossroads, you could look at them and say, which way will support these words? Which way will be me living into my biggest, best self? So that's a nice weekend assignment. Anne, I'm sorry we didn't muddle anything today. I fully intended to. And then pretty soon it was 8:29 and I thought, well, I can't start cutting up fruit now for us to muddle. So please just know how much we love and appreciate our new muddler.
Memorial weekend is approaching. We'll be muddling then.
Happy weekend. Enjoy the weather. Get out, do something, and come up with your 3 words and get away from an imbalanced relationship. However you need to do that. Happy weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.